All right, welcome back for another one of our video sessions where we're going through and trying to do college interviews or college education. We've got another guest with us, a former Top Flight member, which I'm excited is going to be a little bit of a different conversation today. So we'll go ahead and start off. So what's your name?
My name is Kortney Kurtz.
Hi, Courtney. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
What did you play position wise at the junior level?
Throughout high school and my time at Top Flight, I was a DS and then a libero.
Okay. And what year when did you graduate from Top Flight?
2011.
Okay. And so then you had a little bit different experience, but what school did you go off to study and play for?
All right. So I wanted to focus on academics. I was at the time in June/July of 2011. I really felt burnt out of volleyball. I had been playing year round since sixth grade, between middle school club and then high school club. In the St. Charles area, it was really competitive. So that was the need to stay on the teams at St. Charles North. So by the time we went down, which my team was the first team ever to get a nationals bid, woo woo. We went down there. We went down to Atlanta in June, and by the time it was over, I was extremely burnt out. Just like I said, year round, I felt like I couldn't do anything else, that I wasn't participating in anything else. So I decided, when I did my college searches, to just focus on academics. Coach Sean talked to me about being recruited and pushed that idea. And every time I pushed him away and I said, no, I'm burnt out. I'm done with volleyball. It was a negative attitude to have, but I had it. So I went down to the University of Georgia to focus on early childhood education. And I made it about a week in. I moved into the dorms, and then I went to go watch the NCAA D1 team play in our arena. And by the end of the game, I knew I had made a huge mistake. I just realized that I missed playing. I missed the family aspect of it. I missed the teammate part of it. I mean, that's how you meet some of your closest friends. The mentor part of it, you have coaches who not just talk about volleyball, but life. And I realized I had made a huge mistake. So I had to make a change. I stuck with UGA, but then I looked into other options and ended up playing club there.
Okay. That's great. It's great to always hear or see that there are different options out there. I think that you're not the only one that ever feels like that. I know definitely working with the current athletes, there are individuals that are pretty comfortable with looking at their future solely from an academic perspective. They've really enjoyed their times and made great memories with volleyball and are happy with that point of their lives, but they also are set and okay with moving on to the next chapter and not having volleyball be a predominant piece of it. So it's cool to see that you kind of had that experience, and then given a little break, you seem to kind of get pulled back in. So what was your general experience with the collegiate club team? Not being a varsity sport, I'm curious, did you come to find it was measurable and comparable, or what was your feelings about it?
Yeah, I would do it all over again. Once I realized that that was an option, at that level, we still had to go through tryouts. So my freshman year, there was probably about 60 to 70 girls in the gym. We had 2 days worth of tryouts. The captains did the assessments and the drills, and by the end, they picked 12. We only had one club team for girls. And so I was one of the ones that got chosen. From there, I learned that at UGA and most colleges, we still would practice 2 nights a week, which mimicked what I was doing at Top Flight at the time. And then we would travel for tournaments on the weekends, which kind of mimicked Top Flight. We
Sure,
would
sure.
go to other colleges around. So a lot of times, some of the memorable ones, we went to University of Tennessee. We went up all the way up to Virginia Tech. We went all around the Southeast region, and then we would have our own home tournaments, and a lot of teams would come to us too. We would have tournaments of about 12 to 18 teams at a time. And it was extremely competitive. I will say on my team alone, I consistently was playing with girls with the same feelings I had. So my outside hitter that I played with for 4 years, she had 7 D1 scholarships and she turned them all down for academic reasons to go to UGA. So I had that. I had girls who came from D2 and D3 colleges who just said they were burnt out. They wanted something just a little less but competitive. So I was playing with girls who were up there. So it stayed competitive. We played schools, like I said, like Florida and other D1 schools. Every year we would go to nationals, and that would be anywhere around the country. So we went to Dallas, we went to Kansas City, we went to Reno, and it looked like what you see down in Florida. So hundreds of courts, hundreds of teams. They were leveled out D1, D2, D3. So being at Georgia, we had to play other D1 club teams.
Okay.
So like I said, extremely competitive. As you move down, you would see D2 club teams, D3 club teams. But being that I was at Georgia, I had to play at that D1 club level. So it
Sure.
really mimicked what club looks like today with your multiple practices a week and then traveling on weekends. And I absolutely loved it. It was a great way to see other campuses, other athletes, and still play competitively and enjoy it and it not consume your whole college career.
Sure. So we're touching on those last little points there. What was your college experience like then, in comparison? Because I'm going to venture a guess that you had friends that were playing volleyball at the varsity level on scholarships or whatever it was at different areas. So what was your or not college scholarship, what was your college life and your college experience like in comparison to theirs?
I mean, I feel like mine was a little bit more open to social things that I wanted to do. We did know some of the girls. We interacted with some of the girls on the Georgia D1 team, and they just had a lot of rules about could they go out or not once they were 21? Could they go to football games? What did they have to miss because they played during the week? They were consumed by workouts, by mandatory study hours. At least at the Georgia, that's how Georgia works. So being on the club team, I had to figure out how to study on my own. I had to go to class on my own will. Whereas the other athletes at the higher level, they have to check into their classes. They have to check into study hours. So I guess I had my own freedom to get through school and get through the studying. Now, that might mean for some girls that's a little bit harder to do.
Sure, sure.
Some girls need that schedule, but I felt pretty good. I enjoyed being able to go to the football games, being able to go to the baseball games, traveling on weekends for away football games that didn't um, just overlap with volleyball. So I felt a little bit more free, but they also loved their experiences too. And we would go watch them and they would come watch us. So yeah,
Sure.
I would say that's the biggest difference.
Okay. And then looking at your academic situation, how did you feel? Because you just touched on some really good points. You touched about how you had the freedom to do things, but that kind of came at, depending on your side of looking at things, either a more difficult situation because you didn't maybe have structure, or forced situations that kind of moved you into having some of your studying situated, but you also had the process of not being bogged down by that. If you needed to put more attention in other areas, you could kind of address that. So looking at it from an academic side, how do you feel your ability to have more of an open, more of a free schedule how do you think it affected your academics in terms of possibly supporting them to make it easier, because maybe you were able to devote more time to academics when you needed it, whereas some of the girls, well, I've got to do workouts, I've got to go do this, I've got to go do that, I've got to travel for 8 hours to this away event.
Right.
But so, I mean, how did you feel about your academics from that standpoint?
I felt like I had a lot of time to devote to it. I also, being a teacher now, it's going to depend person by person. How individually motivated are you to do well? Like I said, I chose UGA because I wanted to focus on academics. So that was my goal anyway. So I did very well. I'm actually still in college 9 years later, just working on different degrees.
Sure.
but I am but I am very structured myself. Without someone telling me what I need to do, I'm very motivated to create my own schedules in order to get things done. I don't know if I would have loved someone telling me exactly when to do and what to do, but if you're in the gym 2 to 3 times a day between workouts and this and that, and like you said, they have to get on airplanes to travel, you have to get on buses to travel. If you don't have that self-motivation to do it, you're going to need someone to tell you when to do it.
Sure.
But I felt like I did just fine at Georgia. I made time to study. Most importantly, I made time to study with friends and peers so that I wasn't doing it alone and getting off track. So that helps a lot, but I did very well. I do know some people who may have struggled without that structure, but I would say overall, the girls I played with, we made time for academics. We always broke out our test schedules when we made our schedule to travel, and we made sure that we didn't travel around midterms, we didn't travel around finals. We made sure that that was a priority as a group.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like overall you had a really good experience, and it
Yeah.
was maybe, when people think about collegiate athletics, slightly different when what they typically imagine when they sit there and like, oh, well, I want to go play volleyball at the college level. So that's really cool. And so you mentioned, being a teacher, but that's not all you do right now, correct? I'm pretty
It's
sure you have
not.
another job. What's your other position?
Yes. So for 2 years now, I've run the Georgia Top Flight down in the Commerce area where I live. Last year we had one club team, but this year we grew to four. And I coach two of those teams on top of, we do clinics and personal lessons. And we're trying to do as much as you guys do, but we're slowly building. It's year two. And I
Sure.
am in charge of all of that. So the
Oh,
scheduling, the tryouts, the gym space, the money, everything. So
right.
that's my other job. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you came from playing with Top Flight, and then you took an atypical route to the collegiate level of competition. Seemed to have just as rewarding, although not the same, just as rewarding, and possibly to you more personally fulfilling of an experience, because like you said, there's a social aspect, and in terms of like being able to experience other athletic events, being able to be a part of other organizations that maybe you wouldn't have been able to be a part of. And you had a phenomenal experience at college, was able, was able to get an A quality education, and now come back and are continuing on your education. You have your full-time job with being a teacher, also while you've come back to help the Top Flight family, and you're running our Georgia program. It sounds like you've had quite the overall experience
Yeah.
and life with volleyball involved in a lot of it. So my question to you to kind of end this all,
Yes.
you mentioned
Absolutely.
that you would do it all the same. So my question to you is, what is your parting advice to help people with the recruiting process? And specifically for you, what is your parting advice also specifically to the individuals who are not sure, whether they're, maybe 8th grade, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, that are sitting there like, do I want to do college sports? Or to that senior who sits there and is in your same position of, wow, really feeling burned out. I've gone through the grind for so many years. I just don't think I want to do it anymore. What's your parting advice to those people?
Well, I also used to coach high school volleyball. I did that for 3 years. I coached varsity high school volleyball. So I've gone through my fair share of seniors in this spot. And I always tell them, if you've made it this far, you're going to miss it. If you've played this long, you're going to miss it. And I tell them, I don't force collegiate ball on them. I don't say you have to be recruited, but I always say somehow keep volleyball in your life. So whether that's intramurals, whether that's club, whether that's collegiate, or if you find yourself as a junior coach, and you stay in the gym that way, that you're going to miss it. And then I also tell them it's over before you know it. Your playing time is over before you know it. So they might say, I'm burnt out now, but you still only have 4 years left. Especially when you go to that collegiate level, you're only allowed to play 4 years. At the club level, you get up to 6 years. But it's over before you know it. And then, not that coaching's a bad thing, but it's different than playing. And so I
For sure.
say, I get to coach forever, but I don't get to play forever. So if you think you're burnt out, take a week or two, but that's as long as it took me, and you'll realize that you miss it. So keep it somehow in your life, no matter which way you take it, keep it in your life.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's great advice. I know a lot of kids can use hearing that, and then other nice things, again, you're one more individual that you've lived this experience, and you're coming from a different voice, from a different perspective. And, myself or other individuals in their lives that they see on a regular basis, try and give them some things. But I know having one more individual that's experienced it and lives it to try and give a different perspective, I think it'd be very helpful. So that's really good advice, and I think that it'll
Of
be
course.
really helpful to a lot of the athletes. So
Awesome.
I appreciate so much you taking the time to do this interview, especially for the fact that you have had a slightly different experience, but like I said, just as rewarding as other individuals that play with Top Flight and have gone on to play at the collegiate level. It's really exciting to see that there are different layers and there are different paths to still get the
Yes.
same level of fulfillment. So do you have anything else you
Absolutely.
kind of want to leave anyone with?
Uh, Top Flight's a special place. Um, it really is a family, and any other team you join is going to be that family. So, like I said, just keep it in your life. And if they want to know more about different options, like you said, I've lived through it, and I'm willing to share those options that I talk to my seniors about.
Excellent. Awesome. Thanks so much, Courtney. I really appreciate
Thank
it and
you.
having this chance to talk with you. I want to continue to wish you all the best down in Georgia. Keep rocking out that Top Flight
Thank
family and
you.
helping it grow. We're excited to see what you guys are able to do down there, and hopefully get a chance to bring you guys out here or us down
Yes.
there, so we can all come together as one big old family and have a good time
Yes.
together. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks so much, Courtney. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
See ya.